It's Bruce Phares here with Windermere Real Estate. It's the 6th of January. Happy 2020 from all of us on the team, Mark Besta, Will Houston, Donna Berlino, and myself. Let's go ahead and take a look at the year. And we're going to take a quick look at the statistics, what were the highs and lows for the year. And let's start actually with the AlanPope.com information that's available out there. Alan Pope's a great appraiser, and he provides this fabulous tool for us to take a look at. Let's go right over here to 2015 over on the left of our screen. At this point, the reds, which are the pendings, started to exceed the blues, which were the new on market, and that changed the market at that point, and we've been in an escalating market ever since then. We had a little bit of a change right here in the latter part of 2016, but then it came back into a seller's market, inventory staying low. And then finally here in June 2018, that's when all of a sudden inventory increased and changed the game in terms of the seller versus buyer's market. And that has continued to have more inventory than the pending status. And we'll see that in a few minutes in another grid, how it impacted prices. And I think that's going to be the most important question for a lot of people. The absorption of pendings coming on market, well, we actually crested the 200 percentile at one point. That was just unbelievable to most of us. We then dropped down into the 42.7 in that post-June 2018 moment. And we've been hovering between 50 and 60% roughly ever since then in the absorption. So let's go back to our stats, track it. This is a proprietary thing that we do on a daily basis. Least amount of listings available at any given time. And a quick reminder, I'm looking at 3-bedroom properties that are in the area between Othello on the south end and 145th on the north, looking from water to water, left to right, east to west. Least listings available. That was, well, that moment in just the last couple of days of December, 339. And this is at any given time on market. These are the least amount of listings available. Most listings available were in the post July 4th surge. Let's go down and pop down and take a look at that. This blue area here is where I graph out where we have a holiday, and that typically really tweaks the numbers in the negative. So our post-holiday surge here in the white is where property, the amount of listings being on market and coming on market were really higher than normal. And that highest amount of properties on market at any given time throughout the year was right there on the 12th of July. Now let's go back up here. Most new listings coming on in a week, that was actually in May. And that number was, let's go down over here, and there it is, 251. Bring her up there. So we had a surge taking place here as the market was escalating back up in terms of activity. And so we had new listings coming on, and the highest amount of listings in a given week was during May. Let's go ahead and pop back up again. Least amount of listings, well, once again, 22nd through the 29th of December. We won't waste time going to that. The most pending inspections, those properties that went into pending status but still had inspection contingencies, that was in the post July 4th surge. Once we had a great new number of new listings coming on market here, then we also then had correlating high number of pending inspection transactions taking place. Least amount of pending inspections was right about here, 3/9 March of the year. Let's go up here. Most amount of pendings on market at any given time. Also similar set of date range right here, and back here. Least amount of pendings, of course, were right at the end of the year in the last week. Most 6-day. Now, this is the important one here. How many properties are going off market in 6 days or less? The most of them that did that within a 7-day time period was in the April zone, and that was 71. And let's go take a look at what the ratio was on that. Let me pop over here. I think that's it right here. And that means the ratio of 6 days to newly actives was 42%. So 42% of the properties, and let's see how many there were. In that 7-day time period, there were 169 properties that came on market. 71 of them went off market in 6 days or less. And that is a driving force for competing offers and escalating price. We'll probably see that in our price graph in a few minutes as well. All right, let's hop out of there. I got a grid back here, link back up. Lowest 6-day NA was in the latter August and early September, and had dropped down to 9% from 68. Highest 6-day to newly active was at March. There we go. Forgive me. I'm kind of blinking out here. Those are basically the same sets of numbers. This is total and the actual during that week. All right, so let's quickly look at this. I want to show you these numbers, and then I'm going to go over to pricing. Market Watch. This is a thing that the MLS does. We do our separate one, but the MLS does one as well. And I want you to take a look at this. Is weekly basis. Each one of these, I make a commentary on the week that's taken place here. Look at listing pendings, which is this sort of salmon color. This is as of yesterday, as of this morning, looking backwards in this last week. 38 listing pendings, 27. But look at the difference between the salmon and the green. This is new listings coming on market. So listing pendings exceeding new listings. Yeah, let's get here, do that. There we go. And there it is there. 46 to 9, 48 to 19, 41 to 22, 41 to 12. This is going back into November. I think we finally, after about 10 or 12 weeks, finally hit a week where new pendings exceeded. There we are. It wasn't until back in September that we had listings actually exceed pendings, but that was just for 1 week. All right, so that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on. And this is looking at a fairly similar geographic area. Here's another one finally where we had a surge. This is that post July 4th surge. All right, let's quit teasing you. Let's go take a look at the median sales price. Now, this is historical. I'm going to blow this up a little bit here. Hang on. See if we can get that to work. I'm on my Mac, so I got to press the right button here. So let's take a look at what happened. This is a 10-year graph. Let's talk about the areas first. Black is Seattle overall. Green is the area from Ballard over to View Ridge, that swath. Orange is the central area, and then purple is anything south on I-90 to Othello. And again, I think I'm looking at three bedrooms residential. This is a graph I set up that tracks. And here we are. We begin our shift out of the post-apocalypse right about here. December 2011, and boom, we start seeing some rise. We're rising, and I really am paying more attention to the green than anything else because that seems to be the canary in the coal mine. See if I can get that to get out of the way. That highly desired Ballard north end really tells me what everything else is going to do, because as it goes, typically the rest of the market follows. So here we are rising up. 2015, let's look at this one more time. We're at 2014 at 514,000. Now we're at 570. Now we crested 600. Now we are at 650. And that's 2016. And watch this jump right here, December. Now we're going to hit January. The market explodes, and we go from 678 up to 789. So that's just over $100,000 differential in 6 months. A little bit of a correction, a little bit of a lull, and then it did it again in the January to June market of 2018. And at that point, the inventory that we just saw in the other graph exceeded, and we saw a declination here. We saw a declining of our pricing. So let's say the crest at that is 850,000 for that north end swath. It drops down to 769 and 767, and then it climbs back up again a little bit, and then it starts to come back down a little bit. So we're down at 755 versus crest at 850, right? Almost $100,000, $95,000 differential. Same thing for the median price. I don't need to do that one. Median, we see the same thing for the price per square foot. So let's go back to our stats tracker, and I'm going to cut you off now and call it quits. What's going to happen then in this first couple of weeks? Well, typically, here's our weekly activity for 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And if I look at 19, where are we currently? We are at 336. We had 51 new listings come on this last week. So at the same time last year, we were at 99. And then it jumped up to 121, 120, and 139. So we started out fairly strong, but didn't jump up that much. Whereas we see here, these markets did start lower and made their way up and then back down a little bit, getting into that low 100 range. Okay, that's the exception there on the 2015. In terms of the months ahead of us, same thing. New listings, 360, 450. I'm rounding up, forgive me. 640, 760. Same thing here. So last year, what did we see? We saw 500 dropped a little bit, and then it bumped up, and then it bumped up again. So not a huge difference between those right there, but then it did a crest or a surge, and I think we'll see it. Same thing here: 447 to 641, 444 to 648, 430 to 599. There's a jump, 422. So it's really February to March where we see that surge in new activity. Let's take a look at the pending and see if they do the same thing. That's fairly consistent, except for the week 1 to 2. Same thing here; it doubles. Same thing here. Same thing here. Not quite doubling, and then it kind of tapers off. In terms of the 6-day activity, highest amount was in 2019, 36 of them. And if I look at that versus the newly active, there were 121. So it wasn't quite, it was about around a quarter of them. Week 3 kind of stays the same there, doesn't it? New pendings, in terms of the activity coming on, those are going into pending status. 2015 had the highest group. I'm trying to figure out a way to summarize this quickly. 395, 343. So here's a surge from February into March, and then not a great number of surge. And the same thing here, we had a surge. Same thing here, we had a semi-surge. Yep, right. So that tends to be when that really kicks off, is March, in terms of when we get back into a higher level of pendings versus non. So that's about it. That's the market review and sort of a look at what we're going to see here coming up. I'll be discussing this more in detail with our clients that we're working on right now to get ready to come to market, and our buyers that are in the market watching to see what's taking place. With that, I leave you with a quick view again of us. We appreciate your business. We appreciate your referrals, and our motto of clients first always stands true. Look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Bruce Phares, Windermere Real Estate. Adios.